For tonight, my students from the workshop on platforms, ecosystems, and the future of work will be presenting their final project, which is a proof of concept of a learning management system for Cavite Computer Center under the provincial government of Cavite through their provincial ICT office. So for tonight, we're actually fortunate and blessed to have two groups who are actually our stakeholders and partners in this endeavor. So the first group would be the delegation from Zepto Education, represented by Jomini Abaya, Ann Gatapia, and Jag Liponea. Okay. And the second group, the key end user for this proof of concept eventually is Cavite Computer Center, or the provincial ICT office of Cavite. Okay. They're represented here, and their delegation is ably represented by Anita Kazun. Okay. From the side of UANP, will do the presentation. The four students are Rose Reyes, Simon Gaston, Pivy Quinones, and Riza de la Cruz. Okay. We will start with a presentation by the students. We'll go through the presentation smoothly. And after the presentation, we'll open the floor for questions and answers. So if ever there are questions along the way, I would suggest that you defer them until the end of the presentation. Or if you'd like to, blurt out the question already, but so that you don't forget it anymore, you can type it in the chat box feature of Zoom. Okay. So without further ado, I hand the ball over to my students to start the presentation. Okay. I hope you enjoy the presentation this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Can I be heard? Rose, Riza. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to Cavite Computer Center and all our stakeholders and partners. Today, we're going to give you a preview. Right now, we're going to give you a general overview on an introduction to learning management systems, particularly with our partner organization, SEPTO. So we're going to go with the next slide, which is going to talk about an outline, a general outline of how we are going to conduct this presentation, just to give you a general feel, a general idea of what an LMS is, what it is capable of doing, and how to potentially innovate your education curriculum and systems in Cavite Computer Center. So we're going to begin first with the general outline, so we have a nice lay of the land. Yes. So we're first going to discuss an LMS, what it is, what it's generally capable of, what its advantages are, its inherent capabilities, and how you could benefit from integrating one into your current educational system. Immediately after that, we will talk about the types of LMS, or learning management systems, those being cloud-based, open source, and proprietary. Then we'll conclude it and give you a short screen share of the SEPTO website. So here, riding on the information revolution wave, an introduction to learning management systems. I am sure that you are well aware that we are living in the quote-unquote information revolution wave. And with that, information technology and internet has facilitated greatly a lot of things: entertainment, education, instructional material, and even communication. Given that, how can we integrate these kinds of new novel technologies into revolutionizing and potentially innovating the educational aspect of education, especially in the Philippine context? So I'm going to show you a Venn diagram. It's going to quickly and nicely summate what an LMS can do for you. So there are three key aspects or facets I want you to remember. An LMS is going to help you organize, it's going to make things more accessible, and it's going to help your students focus, students and teachers. So one by one, how is it going to help organize your system? It's going to give you improved tracking and reporting. I'm sure you're all familiar with analytics and data. LMS software takes the hard work out of that and gives you a nice succinct and summarized view on all the nitty-gritty details that you'd want to know about your program, your students, your teachers, and any room for improvement. So that's going to make things more organized. Your accessibility, how it's going to become more accessible for the end user. Everything's going to be centralized. No need to worry about fragmented issues, fragmented pieces of software trying to operate for one sole purpose. And the third one, you're going to build an experience through focus. So let's first start with organization. I told you that idea there, right? Analytics. So here you have analytics. How is it going to help you? Organization. So when you have an LMS or a learning management system, that is a piece of software with advanced algorithms and code inside it that can help you determine a lot of mathematical details, chief among them being advanced analytics. You want to see how well your students are progressing in a course, who needs more help, how long they spend each time per slide, per page on a particular lesson. It can give you inferential ideas and insights to which part you may want to improve on. So for example, if you see that a student spends a lot of time, let's say you're discussing about, let's say, photo editing, and they're talking about, say, module 2, which is about changing colors, and they're having a difficult time there, they're spending more time than the general average compared to other modules. You could look into that and see that maybe that would need some refinement. And so you can refine it and then develop your system even further, thus improving the LMS. And everything's automated, so it saves the problem. It saves any issues for the teachers and the students. How so? Gone are the days of teachers needing to collect papers and then check them one by one and spending tireless nights each and every night checking them. Instead, for multiple choice questions, teachers are aided with the ability of the software to check multiple choice answers and give you the resulting score immediately. It's also able to give you immediate explanations for exam questions. So if students want to learn something whilst they're taking a test, immediately they don't need to wait 2 or 3 days for the teacher to return their exams. So everything's much more streamlined and focused and automated. The next one I told you is accessibility. With such an LMS, if everything is on your LMS, everything is centralized, everything is there, your communication, your instructions, your grading. For example, all you need to do is click an app or go to a website, and immediately you're taken to an LMS portal. In there, you can communicate with your classmates, with your teachers, access all instructional material, check your grades, check your files, everything that you could possibly need for your education, depending on how the system is set up, is there automatically on the platform. So that's the advantage. So students don't need to get distracted with jumping from one app to another. Say they don't need to go to Messenger or they don't need to go to Facebook. They won't get as easily distracted. So just click that app and they're there. The third one is focus. Again, all those things combined improve the general user experience of students. They're going to be more isolated from the distractions of the online world. So if everything's on that LMS program and everything's educational material, they can put their student hat on and just immerse themselves in that world. And once they're isolated in that world, it's easy to keep them inside them, easier to retain their attention span, and they keep their quote-unquote student hat on for much longer. So we're going to move on to the types of LMS, the tools of the trade, just to give you a general idea of the kind of models and paradigms out there of the different kinds of learning management software systems. So we have 3. We have the cloud-based, open source, proprietary. Let's run through them easily one by one and give you a general idea of what each is capable of, and eventually we'll talk about their strengths and their weaknesses. So your cloud-based LMS, I don't know if you're all familiar with Edmodo or Schoology. These are your cloud-based LMS solutions. They're off the shelf, they're relatively easy to set up, but they have the potential for fragmentation, meaning it's not as unified as, say, partnering up with someone, because if a school doesn't have a particular partner, and the teachers just choose randomly. Some teachers may choose to opt for Edmodo, some may choose for Schoology. So you won't have your systems as efficient and as streamlined as they ought to be. Now, given that, that leaves room for improvement. We'll get to that later. The next one is open source. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Moodle, but Moodle is an open source LMS platform. If you've noticed, if you've ever used Moodle, its UI and its user interface is reflective of its open source nature. It's generally bare bones, given that it's made by software developers who do not have much of a financial incentive to create or support that software. But for certain use cases, it is useful. So during the early days of the pandemic, the lockdown, many schools opted to use Moodle for the first weeks or months, but eventually shifted to partnered institutions given the advantages of proprietary software over open source. And yeah, proprietary. So our partner organization, Septo, is an example. The idea of a proprietary LMS is that it's provided by a business partner. It's designed for specific use cases, so it can be custom built for what you need. So given that, let's talk about each one more in depth. So I told you convenience is king. We were referring to Edmodo and Schoology, off the shelf. Is it really the best solution for your organization? Well, cloud-based LMS, so Edmodo and Schoology, for example, they're convenient. They have their own apps. They have their own websites. They're already built, so you do not need to. You don't even need to talk with the institution, the business to get up and running. So it's very seamless to integrate. So there's not the barrier to entry is relatively low. However, it's a relatively ad hoc solution. So again, if we were back in the early days of the pandemic, this would not have been the ideal solution for anything beyond maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months, given that you do not have much say of how you want to design the system. So if you take a look on the right-hand side, you can see the UI of Schoology. Looks rather old and antiquated. Unfortunately, that is how Schoology deems their software to be presented via that interface. So you as an end user are not able to change how it looks. So if you want to shuffle things around because you think more things are necessary for the students, add more web activities or workshops, unfortunately, you're out of luck. That is where one of the inherent limitations of cloud-based LMS comes in. Moving on, we want to discuss open source. We talked about Moodle. Now, is free worth its trade-offs? The pros and cons of open source learning management systems. Go back to Moodle. The advantages of Moodle are that it's free. Usually, open source usually means it's free, but not always. The advantages are that it's great. It's very versatile. It was created by a bunch of software developers on GitHub, an open source repository online, and it allowed them to tinker around with the software. So if you have a lot of technical know-how, you can really granularly and modularly determine what you want to change. Again, GitHub, it's free, very versatile, and very modular. However, because of its modularity and its versatility, if one is not as familiar with coding or programming or altering the source code how they need it to be for the software, therein lies the difficulty. There's going to be a lot of DIY issues. In addition, you have technical issues. This is a screenshot of the Moodle webpage, moodle.org, that we visited just a while ago, and it shows you that they are offline for scheduled maintenance. This is a reflection that you may not necessarily want to have Moodle if your students operate and study and learn at random off hours or peak hours. So that's one thing to take into account. Now, the solution to that is the bespoke proprietary solution. So the bespoke benefits, the advantages of having your own proprietary LMS, in this case, partnering up with Septo. Septo has a lot of advanced features that you could determine what you need and what you don't need, and really custom build your experience for your end user, the students, accordingly. It has amazing technical support. So unlike Moodle, you wouldn't need to worry about having a lot of DIY issues trying to fix things on your own. You have a strong support system that's there designed to help you get things up and running. So you can focus less on actually managing the hard technical details and actually spend more time educating the students. You also have the support economies of scale. SEPTO is there. Their team of cybersecurity experts are there to ensure that your data is secure and safe. Your data is private. It's relatively easy to use. It's user friendly. And again, there's not much DIY going around. So just to recap and summarize and conclude the idea of a learning management system, it's there to an LMS is there to make an experience, to build an immersive experience for the students so that they can learn and spend more time learning than actually trying to understand the software it is per se. Its goal is to be as seamless as possible, in addition to giving administrators and teachers improved tracking and reporting. So analytics data, so teachers can get even more insight to how they want to educate their students. And everything is contained within that little ecosystem, little bubble. Ideally, you'd want to go for a proprietary system like Septo and really invest there if your solutions are for the long term. Now, given that, I just want to share the website of Septo just to give you an idea of the organization that one will be partnering with. So if you can see here, this is the Septo website. You can see that this is a reflection of the company. So their goal is to really empower the education of students. They have their own LMS solution, which we just discussed, and they even have their own Septo Academy. If we check Septo Academy, it's a reflection of what they've been doing. So they actually teach in, if I'm not mistaken, corporate learning also. So they're really well versed in the learning aspects in the Philippine context, the Philippine curriculum. So they're corporate learners. And Septo has been founded in 2008 and is located in the Philippines. So they really are familiar with, like, let's say, the educational system or the learning styles of, say, the Philippine setting, the Filipinos. And another one is Septo LMS. So this is the learning management system we discussed a while ago. You can integrate YouTube videos or videos onto your platform. Again, you can really make use of a variety of learning methods. It enriches the learning experience. Again, an experience, immersion is key. And it delivers education to your students' devices. Wherever you go, you have an app, you want to access it on the go, you're in the barber shop waiting for your turn to get your haircut. Learn while you are, and you can get instant feedback, encourage community participation. All these benefits are there with partnering with a company like Septo or going for proprietary LMS. Now, given all that, now that you have a general idea of what an LMS is, what it's capable of, and all the nice general high level competencies it can do, I want to stop sharing first and give the floor to my classmate Pivi, who's going to show you a proof of concept. It's going to be a bit more technical, but assuming this assumes that you are going to do the operational aspects of Septo. So I pass on the mic to Pivi. Pivi, it's all yours.
Thanks, Raf. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Just send a thumbs up. Okay. So this is simulation. We have created a proof of concept for Cavite computer community. So this one, we divided it into two. So the first part is the student perspective, where Rose and I will navigate the Septo as LMS. And the second part is that Riza will show the teacher's perspective. So like any given platform, so here, first, you will be given credentials to access the Zepto or the LMS itself. So it's very intuitive as a student. And then once you log in, it will show you the dashboard. So that's the default page that you can see. So here, as a student, you will be able to see the courses you are enrolled in. So you can also see the current, the future, or the past courses that you've taken. And also you can start a course wherein, if it's your favorite or you have different you still have exercises that you need to complete. And here you can also see at a glance, at a quick glance, you will see all the progress of those courses. And then aside from that, what I really like about this in the dashboard is that it will show you a calendar. So this is a snapshot of what your calendar or week um, will be. So you can gauge if you're going to be busy this week. And also here, you can quickly just add an event. Like for example, if you have a paper due, you can just put an event here. So see final paper due, and then just quickly save. So you can have like a reminder on yourself that you have a paper due. Also, it has like a quick link for the exercises. And you can just quickly click this link and navigate directly to that exercise. So for this POC, we have selected 3 courses among the materials that was given to us. So we selected these 3 courses because we believe that it's an important skill to learn and it's very applicable across different industries. So these courses, the format that we have, since it's a short clip from the materials that we have, so we have an overview, the content, and also we introduce like additional reference aside from the materials that was given to us. So here you just can quickly click on this additional reference. You can add more if you want to. And so that's an additional, as a student, it will entice you to study more and read through other references and materials, look to the other references as well. So aside from the content, we created different exercises where Rose can navigate it and can show you how to accomplish or how to submit an exercise. So, and then at the end, it will give us like a certification for that. So overall, this is, as a student, this is really intuitive tool. And the navigation, it's like you're navigating into like your social media. It's like very user friendly and all. So I'll give the floor to Rose just to explain more on the navigating the course itself and how to accomplish the exercises. Rose?
Hello, thank you everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Cavite Computer Center. Good evening to all our stakeholders, including the guys from SEPTO. So what I'm showing right now is my screen so that I'll be able to simulate the role of a student. So let me know if you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Right. So Heidi earlier showed you the different courses that are available. So what I'm going to show you now is how I will be able to navigate as a student the courses that are enrolled to me. So for instance, I'll be clicking the basic computer application. This is actually one of the course offerings of Cavite Computer Center. So what you see on the screen are the different parts. So first is the general, where it shows you the announcements. So in this announcements, this is actually the professor or the teachers or instructors' way of communicating with the students. If there are any announcement in terms of deadline or when a paper is due or the schedule of classes, this is actually a very good tool where that can be posted by the professors. So I'm moving on to the course proper. So this is actually where we as a team, no, as part of the POC, we have uploaded a sample course for MS Word. So as a student, I can navigate through the different courses that is available for me. So like, for instance, I'm actually taking this course, so I can read through the different articles and then navigate by clicking the next activity. So when I'm done, I have the capability to click done to tag that I'm already done with that lesson, and then navigate again to the next. And then as soon as I'm done studying that specific lesson, I can also click done. So you can navigate through the different parts or the different modules available. And once you're done with all these things, you can also go through the different exercises. So in these exercises, this is actually where your professor will ask you to do your submission. So I have already created different exercises. So what I will do is I will simulate exercise number 13 to show you how a student will add this specific submission. So here, what you can see on the screen is when it was opened or when it was assigned to me by my professor, when it is due, which is April 27, and then the current submission status. So there are no submissions yet, and then not yet graded. So what I'll do now is I'll click add submission to submit the file that I have created as a student. So assuming I'm done with my homework, what I can do now is I can either drag and drop or just click this arrow down button, choose the file, and then select the exercise that I'm supposed to submit to my professor, and then click open. So I'll just click the upload this file, and then if there are no more issues, I can just click save changes. So what happens there is that it tags now that it's already submitted for grading, although it's not yet graded because it's not yet checked by my professor. And there are actually due date that says, there's time remaining that says assignment was submitted 1 day, 4 hours early. So you can see if you have submitted it within the time. And you also have, if assuming you have submitted the wrong file, you have the capability to either edit or remove the submission. So I'm gonna cancel for now, or just remove the submission. So one of the things that I like is that you can actually look at your course completion. So if I click from home and then look at my specific courses, it actually has the capability to show you your progress in terms of your completion. So I also have here, once you have completed the different courses and your professor has graded all your exercises, there will be a course certificate that will be generated. One good thing about it is that it's actually available to you and you can preview it, and you can easily download it. And if it's a prerequisite for Cavite Computer Center, once the student has completed his or her course, this is actually readily available for the student to download. So I can just download that and then save it on my file there. So you also have the capability to look at your grades. So by clicking here, you can look at all your grades. So by just one glance, you'll be able to see your current grade for that particular course that you are completing. So there. So I'm turning over the floor now to Riza, who will be simulating the professor, the instructor mode. Riza, go ahead.
Hello, hello. I'll share my screen. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Thank you. So I will be giving you a demo on the teacher perspective in terms of like accessing and configuring the courses within Septo. So it's the same view actually. The teacher and the student has the same view. If the teacher will go to my courses, the courses that he or she have created and is co-teaching with will show up in the my courses section. And then if we select on one, say I will select advanced computer application, the teacher will have like an edit option on the upper right of the screen. So I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but on the other ones who share their screen, they don't have this functionality, only I, because I was assigned as teacher for the courses. So I have an edit mode, and then I have a view mode so that I can see what it will look like on the like student perspective. So I'll go back to my courses and show you how we can create a course from scratch. So there's an ellipsis here available on the top portion, top right, and then we select this and add new course. So you can now add like a course name, short course name and course description and like add a course image. So if you notice, there are line items that has a red dot here. Like so these fields are required so that to complete or to save the course. I will not save this anymore because we've configured our three courses for the POC purposes. So I'll just like cancel this one. So that's how to create it. And for those courses that have already been created, one way to edit is to access it and then just enable the edit mode. So we can edit the course entirety. So when I showed earlier, you saw the configuration for the course, right? So there's a setting tab here. So the same configuration or settings will be available. So we can configure the course visibility if you want to show it or not yet, course start date, course end date, and then add an image. So we add an image for the specific courses that we've created, course format, and other like configuration the teacher would like to add on to his or her course. And other than that, for course specific, so on the like the topics that we create, we can edit the ones that have been created. There's an edit icon here or button to edit the topic or the header or the title. And then there's like an ellipsis within each like subtopic, with an if there's an ellipsis also to so that you can edit the settings of those subtopics. We can also there's also an a delete button for each of the subtopics and the topic itself. So there's a delete topic. If say for example you mistakenly created a topic and you want to delete it, so you have that functionality. So we can add, there's at the end of each of the topics, there's an add topic button. So you can select the add topic and then a new like a section will be created so we can edit it. I will add like simulate Microsoft PowerPoint overview. Enter. Enter to commit the change. And then under that topic, we can add an activity or resource. So this is where like the teacher can go crazy, whatever kind of activity you wanna set up in your course, you can add that. For the purposes of the POC that we created, we selected page and assignment. So that will be the one I will demo today. So we selected page because it becomes intuitive and it automatically displays the images. So I'll just give you a snapshot. Like earlier today, when Rose was providing a demo earlier, you can see that if it's a page, they can navigate through it. And automatically the students will view the image. So it's more intuitive for the students. And it will capture their attention immediately. So I will add a name, MS overview. And then, so again, there are like red buttons here to highlight which are the required fields. So we can add an image. So if we select the image icon, browse, and then upload. So I will upload from my personal local files and then upload this. And then save image. There's some like configuration if you want to auto size the image or you want to retain the sizing, depends on how you want to configure it. And then save image. So I wanted to auto size it so that all of the pages will look the same. There are additional configurations, access restrictions that can be set up. And then if I save and return to course, so it's here now. I will now simulate another activity for assignment. So assignment is the one where Rose earlier showed when she submitted an exercise based on an output required by the course. So say I will add exercise PPT as course exercise name, and then I will add a file the file contains the instructions for the exercise. So this is exercise 2 sample file, and it will be there. And then there are additional settings for availability, submission types. If you wanna limit the file types, you can, the submission size, the number of times they can re-upload file. I mean, number of files they can upload, you can also limit it. Additional settings also are available there. And then save and return to course. So that will be automatically be added here on the modules of the course. What else? Another function that we have is there's a tab here for participants. So of course, when one creates a course, there wouldn't be any participants within that course, right? So here in the enroll in the participants tab, this is where we control the number of participants per course and who can access them. So we select the enroll users button here on the right upper right portion, and then add the ones that are available within the within our environment that will be created by Septo. So, and then we can assign them as student or non-editing teacher. So the non-editing teacher is like your backup or like your partner for the specific course, and then enroll them. So they will be listed down here. And then another tab is for the grades. So here the teacher can see who are the participants for that course, and the grades will be laid out here if he or she has already graded the exercises. So it's nice also that there's like quick link to the specific exercise. So on the column header, if we select that, the teacher will be redirected to the specific exercise, and then there they can view the submissions. If there are submissions, the file submissions will be available. So if you see here, Rose submitted an exercise, an output for the exercise 1, and then now I can grade them. You know, you can grade them and like add a like a comment, and then save the changes, and it will be the comments will be shown in the student's profile as well. So if I go back now, so yeah, that's the grades portion. Additionally, there's another tab for, I'm sorry, there's another tab for reports. So the reports, there are links here, but I will emphasize the top 3, the bottom links, the course participation. You'll see here that it will show the progress of each of the participants. And then there's another one. There's another one for activity completion. So listed here are the participants, and if they've already marked each of the sections we've created as done. So you see, yeah, 5E marked some of the sections, and Rose marked just one for the exercise. And then what else? Statistics. So the statistics is just an overview, like a high level overview of like about the course and the completion of the students. There's also another reports and analytics portion within the LMS. So this one is like very useful for the educators or the teachers, so they can see a snapshot of the entire course that is created, and the progress and performance of these participants, and really anything related to the courses. And these are pre-built reports here, but we can create or customize a report. There's a button here, just select it, and now we can create a customized report. There's a section here called user fields, so we can select what we want to add. I want to add the username, and then for the course fields, I want to select total activities, activities completed. So these are the it will populate preview here whatever we select within these fields. So if I create new report, we can name them test two. Because we've already simulated test here. So if I save the changes and go back to reports and analytics, it will be shown on the bottom portion of the, so it's now on the second page because um the screen has maxed out. But there's also like a way to hide the pre-built report. So there's an ellipsis here, and then sorry, a settings icon, and then hide block. So you can hide the others so that we can push the customized reports up, and they will automatically be viewable for us. So if we don't want to see the pre-built reports. I believe that's the about it for the demo from the teacher portion. It's just like a high level demo of what the functionalities are available for Septo, but there's a lot more that I think we don't have the time for that. So now we can move on to our question and answer portion.
Okay, thank you very much to Rose, Simon, Risa, and Ivy. Okay. Now's the time for questions to be shared and answered by the students. Is there anybody who would like to open up the Q&A portion? Okay. And if you're feeling a little bit shy, you can send me a direct message via Zoom, and then I'll ask the question myself to everybody else. Yes, Andy, you have a question?
Okay, first thing, sir, congratulations sa inyong mga students. I think you did a very good presentation. For me, it's very exciting that parang for how many years we're using the module for Cavite Computer Center, and now nasa parang naging online siya, medyo naging exciting yung dating ng aming mga modules. So I think we can ask our instructors kung ano po yung comment nila regarding po sa presentation ng inyong mga students. Okay, so anybody from the computer instructors, I think medyo na-amaze din kayo dun sa presentation na ginawa ng students ni Sir Chippy. So maybe you can give some comments and suggestions or question para naman mas ma-feel nila yung beauty ng kanilang ginawang presentation. Is Ma'am Esid here? By the way, sir, na-introduce po ba yung aming mga instructor sa inyo kanina? Not yet. I'm sorry.
No, sorry, we haven't had the time kanina din. Yeah, but maybe if you want to introduce them now, feel free.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I can introduce them first. So yung team po namin, mga instructors namin from Cavite Computer Center. First, I see Ma'am Maria Isidra Bergander, si Ma'am Esid. Good evening, Ma'am Esid. Hello. Ayan. And kasama din po natin si Marvin Arbues. So he's teaching module 3, yung PC troubleshooting. Yan, hi Esid. So si Ma'am Esid po, she's teaching module 1 and module 2. Kasama din po natin si Ralph Allen Peñamante. He's teaching module 1 and module 2 and PC troubleshooting. And si Ms. Rian de la Cruz naman is also teaching module 1 and Photoshop. Then si Diwani. Si Diwani, she's also teaching Module 1 and Module 2. And si Sir Fred, Module 1, Module 2, and database, di ba, Fred? Database.
Yes
Kasama
po,
din po
ma'am.
natin, okay? Kasama din po natin si Miss Babeline Marquez. Is teaching Module 1 and Module 2. And yung mga Microsoft tips and tricks. And she is one of the Microsoft ambassador. And yeah, for how many years na babes na Microsoft ambassador ka? Hello, babes.
Hello po. Rinig po ba
Yeah,
ako? Pasensya
yeah.
na ma'am. Wala akong boses.
Okay.
Ano ma'am? 7
Natuturo.
years.
For 7 years, yan. So, isa po yun sa magagaling namin instructor, siyempre. Kasama din po natin si Marvin. Marvin, how are you? So, PC troubleshooting naman po yung tinuturo ni Marvin. And kasama din po natin sa registrar si Miss Edeline Villacorte. Yan. So,
Yes, ma'am. Good evening po.
yeah, good evening. Yeah. So, yun. So, after the presentation of Mr. TP's students, may we ask for you, please give some comments and suggestion or questions para naman po magkaroon may makuha silang feedback galing sa atin.
I have one direct message now, your question. So I'll just read it na lang as is. No? Good evening, sir. Is it available to upload a video? If yes po, or is there a limit of MB of video if we upload a tutorial for each module? Thank you. Okay, is there anyone who could answer this? Or maybe our partners from Zepto can probably answer this as well. Okay, Jack, yeah, feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for the students' presentation. They're all very good. Now, going back to the question, it's actually configurable. It would depend on what is the policy for the school and how much is really allowed by your school's LMS. It's really just the answer is it's virtually unlimited because you can put in and allocate much more storage if you would allow a teacher to upload more than a gigabyte of worth of video, right? But the thing that you need to consider based on best practice is that once you upload a video into the LMS, it means it's going to be stored in our LMS. It means that it would be streamed from our platform. Meaning, if it's a very huge 4K video and your students are trying to view it from their phones, it won't be optimized for their devices. So in short, they would still be buffering them according to the size of the video. It's very different from when you will watch it from a Netflix, from a YouTube, or from a Google Drive, wherein they perform this little step called transcoding, right? Because they optimize it for the device where the user wants to watch that specific video. So if they're watching on a 55-inch screen TV, it's okay, right? Because it will really bring out details into that big screen. But if you're just watching on your mobile phone or tablet, it's most probably better to scale it down to a better resolution like a 720 or maybe 1080p at least. So I think it's more of really studying what your users will what devices your users will be handling when they engage in the LMS. But if they're using just the laptops or maybe for the students, they're always mobile, right? So typically it will be their phones or their tablets. Maybe we should encourage by policy the teachers, just in case they have to upload the video for their material, just make sure that it's not that big so that we also help the students to optimize the bandwidth. Of course, if it's a smaller file, it's faster to download just in case. So those are the considerations. But If need be, worst case, if the site admin says you can upload up to more than 100, more than 1 gig, that's totally fine. That's still doable. But by practice, I would still suggest that the teachers consider the end users who will consume that kind or that size of a video. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
That's all, Sir
Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you for that, Jag. Maybe as a follow-up, no, given with what you've said, maybe from your personal experience, if you can share what would have been the biggest video file that you've handled in your entire experience for Zepto. Would you recall?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I've seen teachers upload just less than a gig. So sometimes they upload about 400 to 800, and we have files, and we have tested even in our laboratory where we uploaded an 800 MB file. It's a very short one, but it's still 4K. It appears good on TV, right? Of course, because we tested in a bit widescreen. But again, it all boils down to the device. It won't matter that much if you try to trim down. That is, of course, or cheapy if the teacher is very knowledgeable on how to trim or down, what do you call this? Reduce the resolution of the video. So
Okay.
things like that. It
Okay.
would just help in the performance and also the overall experience of your users while they are trying to consume video on typical by demand on demand.
Thank you for that, Jag. Okay. Any other comments or questions from the audience? Or if you're feeling a little bit shy, you can message me directly, and I'll be the one to ask that question on your behalf.
Sir JP,
Yes, go ahead.
may one question sila na gustong i-raise. How can we sure that yung students ang gumagawa ng exercises? I think that's yung medyo parang uncontrollable sa part ng pagka LMS na po yung i-implement natin. Yun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe the students can by answering.
Kasi pagka po kasi may online classes kami, to make sure na yung students yung gumagawa, naka-open yung cam. Naka-open yung cam, and then right after the activities, so they will upload their activities dun sa drive para at least kahit pa paano we know that yung student po yung gumawa, and then yun po yung gustong ma-assure ng instructors namin na may natutunan silang gumawa ng activities and may natutunan sila doon sa mga exercises. So yun, so yun po yung isa sa mga sakatang medyo hindi mahirap kontrolin pag nag-LMS na po tayo.
That's right. Rose, you like to share
Yes.
something?
Yes, sir. Hi, good evening, Miss Annie. I think tama
Good
naman po, you can actually control that by having the students log into a Zoom call. Tapos similar to what we are doing po sa class. So sometimes if the instruction is face-to-face, we're just accessing our LMS, and then we're working on our assignments or submissions, and then the professors can actually see us. So similarly, kapag
Okay.
online, that can be controlled through the Zoom call po by opening their cameras, so you can see if they're actually doing the work. Tapos the submissions can also be timed. Mafa-facilitate din po ng teachers yun by indicating the duration or the specific deadline for the submission, yung due date kung kailan nila dapat i-submit. So I think in terms of control, you can actually do that po. The LMS is actually just facilitating and making things easy for the instructors dahil nasa isang site na lang po siya, and it's easier for facilitating the actual class or the course because it's already in one place. Tapos all the submissions can be graded. Isa lang po yung view na titignan nyo. And the grades are actually available na po to the students. In fact, one of the things that we wanted to highlight there is the availability of the certificate. So masiset po ng mga instructors doon yung once they have completed all the modules, the submissions, or all the exercises, you can set po na once it has been completed 100%, they can already download or generate the certificate, or that can be triggered by the instructors po. I hope I was able to answer your question, Miss Annie.
Yeah, okay. So, sino nga ba yung nag-question? Nasagot ba yung, yung question mo? Ano ba to? Si Fred. So, si Fred po yung nagtanong nun.
Thank you for the
Fred,
question.
kindly reply.
Yeah, Jag, you have something to add?
Yeah, while we're getting confirmation from the one who asked the question, just some more tips on how we observe it from the field, based on how our customers really use the LMS. They typically put in that time limit when they're answering a quiz. So you try to make it as sensible enough that you can make the quiz possible to be answered, but not too long that they have time to really wander off and open another Google tab and search for the answers for your quiz. So of course they can still do it, but it's a sacrifice between how efficient they can really search, right? Another thing is we've seen some of our deployments use the SafeXM browser, but this is a feature that we don't normally deploy, but it's supported. The thing is, you just still have to, for example, if the student is using a laptop to answer the quiz, they need to install a third party. So what it does is, if there's a safe exam browser, of course, with as it suggests, the name suggests, you can only answer the quiz. You cannot go to open another window while you're doing the exam, and that's for at least doing the assessment. For the homework, okay, just to be sure, we tested some anti-plagiarism tools also. We can actually integrate with any tool that's available on the market, just to give the teachers that easy check, so they don't have to check for plagiarism anymore. We can run a plagiarism tool check for every submission that the student provides, and they will give a report on how's the likeliness that it is is a plagiarized content, something like that. So it kind of gives the teacher that level of confidence that the students are really participating as themselves. Plus, if you tell the students that these features are available in the LMS, more often than not, it will be a deterrent to discourage them from doing very anomalous tasks within the platform. That's it, Sir Chief.
Thank you, Jag. Okay, I have another question through private message. Good evening, Sir JP. Ask ko lang po kung madali lang po ba siya ma-access or magamit ng student, especially po kung zero knowledge or senior po ang student namin. Thank you po, sir. Sige, anybody from the team could answer that?
Probably here. So yes, it's very intuitive. So as you can see, the LMS itself is like a quick button. If you want to navigate it, there's a next and preview. So it's really labeled properly also. So if you want to access your course, there's like a quick access for that. So I think it's fairly enough to say that it's really user friendly and enough for the senior. Because if you know social media, like for example Facebook, it's really intuitive. So it's like the same as here, but instead of browsing contents in the social media, you're just browsing contents of what's in the modules itself. So I believe, based on my experience, so yes, it is. And there's an accessibility also feature in here. So if there are, dyslexic people, so they can switch it to that mode. So it's really, you can really appreciate that feature in Septo itself.
Thank you. I mean, just for the appreciation of everybody else, the Cavite Computer Center actually caters to all ages, really, because their modules are really meant to help improve basic computer literacy. So we've actually seen in action some students are actually senior na nga, 60, 65 years old above. So yeah. So para lang ma-appreciate nyo rin yung context where the question is coming from. Okay. Thank you for that. Any other questions from everybody else? So give you guys time to think a little bit. Okay. Okay, is Zepto a free platform? So I'll probably pass the ball to Jobs. Is he around? Maybe you can share a little bit about Zepto. Or if anyone from Zepto is there. The question is Zepto a free platform? Yeah, go ahead, John, please.
Yeah, while waiting for Joe, maybe he's bumping into some technical issues. But yeah, the direct answer to that one is of course it's not. Mainly because we have there's a certain cost to maintaining the platform. It's to to be blunt, it's really all in one. From the presentation that I gathered a while ago, it's also it it's the same as being a cloud based. It's also Moodle definitely, and it's also proprietary, right? But the good thing with that one is we combine all the advantages and try to minimize the disadvantages of each of those types of LMSs. Now with that, of course, that because we do provide that level of support that satisfies all our customers just to meet their expectations, especially their service level agreement times and times of our responses, because most of the times the students need to take an exam or submit on time for an assignment, things like that. uh, there's a certain cost factor to that one. Of course, you have also the local engineers who can provide custom features. I think that's another uh, characteristic of the Zepto LMS we're in. If you encounter something like an additional feature and you would like to ask, it's something that you can do with Zepto actually. You just go with with your account manager, and then you can say and try to suggest that maybe you can try this, maybe you can do that, and maybe we can work it out. Okay. And also, because it's cloud based and the keyword here is being accessible, because it's cloud based, we have also to pay for where we host it in the cloud. So, like if we host it in Amazon or something in the cloud. So, again, that's mainly the big ticket cost items that constitutes the whole cost of the Zepto element. I'm not in the proper position to tell you the the actual price, but to answer the question,
Okay.
it's not really totally free because a lot of effort has been done for this wonderful platform to support all kinds of use cases for the teachers and students and even for the school admin. That's it, Sir Chief.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you, John.
Yeah. So, sir, can we, if you can tell us the cost as of now, can we ask for like a quotation, and you can send us the quotation to our email
Def-
so we can study?
yes, ma'am, definitely po. I think we can definitely do that via our very active sales team.
Maybe I mean for this purposes, just to facilitate, you can share it with me and I can throw it to them if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Pero just to facilitate lang, para lang. And maybe just to add to that, no? I mean, just to help appreciate Jag's points better, no? The whole idea of the LMS kasi, there are many components to it. So I don't know if that was clear from the first part of the presentation. So you have the hardware infrastructure side, you have the software side, and you have the content front end development side to it, right? I mean, you can think of it simply as three components, right? And each of those components would have accompanying costs, typically in short form. What Zepto as a provider can do is that they take care of everything of all those three components, if you will. There are other instances in other institutions wherein they're more capable of doing one, two, or even all parts on their own, wherein the costs can vary. Like, for example, if you are capable of managing your own infrastructure costs for whatever reason, then you probably would just be worried about someone who can install the software and come up with the content, right? Or if you're somebody who's capable of doing the content, right? Then you just probably need someone who can lead you to provide an infrastructure solution along with the software. And along all those stacks, all those components, right? There are cost. Well, I wouldn't want to say cost free, no, but there are more viable alternatives. I mean, almost free options that's available. Like, for example, on the software part, I mean, you do have the base platform, which is Moodle, and Moodle is an open source software. So that is something that's accessible to anyone, but it's quite bare. And what Zepto did was they actually gave it a little bit more life into it. Okay, so there's something more on the base plat. But if you just look at the base platform, it's Moodle. It's something that's free of download, and you'll have to manage it on your own, right? As far as the infrastructure is concerned, you're probably familiar that you can have one of two possibilities. You can have an on-premise solution where you buy all of the infrastructure, okay, which includes the hardware, the storage, and everything, including the network, or you have a cloud-based solution. So either way, they would entail costs as well, right? Especially if you want to keep them more available. And of course, from a content development point of view, I mean, there are also costs involved. But I presume with a little bit of training, those within Cavite Computer Center, for example, they can probably do the content development on their own, right? So it's going to be a mix of what might be best fit for you. As far as today's presentation is concerned, it's a proof of concept, right? That given a particular element, in this case, Repto, you can already start envisioning or imagining a possibility for your specific use in Cavite Computer Center. So I hope I helped explain a little bit better on the context of the financial angle with the elements.
So, sir, the cost would depend on the available resources that we have and the scope of or the extent of modules that we're going to implement in the to do in the Septo platform. Okay, yes, sir. So we can talk about that later.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Any other questions?
May question pa kayo? I think, clear na? I think clear na, sir.
Here, okay. Well, again, thank you very much for the time. I mean, I want to add a little bit to an earlier question regarding the case about yung how do you find out kung yung student talaga yung sumagot, diba, and all that. And there's a question about if it's easy to use and everything. What I'd like to, I guess, refresh everybody here is that the learning management system is a tool, right? It's a tool that is meant to actually help whatever it is that we're doing at the outset. So if we're looking at teaching a course, for example, teaching one module comprising of, let's say, 100 tasks on the side of the instructor and of the students combined, the LMS presumably would be able to replace or provide or take care of most of the tasks, but they're not there to really replace everything. So it's not as if that you put an LMS and then you can forget about it, right? I think we're too early in that state of technology wherein you have artificial intelligence doing that for you, no? But needless to say, it's a tool. So there are certain things that you still need to consider as far as the design of your delivery is concerned, right? So maybe that's something that you also want to consider. And So the LMS is not like a catch-all miracle cure, right, for all of the problems that you might have. But what it can promise you is that it can make certain tasks a lot easier, and there are a lot of benefits that you can actually reuse moving forward, and not just be limited to certain instances of your use of the elements. Okay, okay, and with that, mukhang wala nang pahabol na questions. If there are no more questions, thank you very much for attending, for both our partners, ZEPTO and the provincial government of Cavite, through PICTO, the provincial ICT office. Thank you very much for attending. I know it's late in the evening and on a weekday, right? I know you guys have work also the following day, and I appreciate the time and availability. And yeah, and to Annie and to Dino, and we'll see you guys soon. Okay. Thank you so much. You may drop off the call already if you have no more concerns. For the students, please stay online if that's okay. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much also. Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Pito. Ano, to our team, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.